What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, welcome back. This is another 5 biggest takeaways from the most recent town hall, and boy, did we have a town hall for the ages today. Now, before I get into it, there's a couple things I'm going to do before I really get into it. The first thing is this is not if you're new to the channel, this is not a summary of the town hall. There are awesome content creators, including Rosie W here, who do both written as well as video. And there's also usually an official summary that's put out by the team. But Rosie beat the team by literally, the team hasn't even put it out yet, and she put it out minutes within the ending. So Rosie's awesome. Rosie, big shout out to you. And I'm going to try to feature yours here as often as I can. So Rosie W on Peak D or Splinter Talk. So guys, make sure you go and show some support because she has literally everything. She's like typing in all of the questions and the answers. She's got all the eye candy. It's incredible. Rosie, you do a fantastic job, and I think everybody should go and support right away. Okay, so as I was saying, this is not a summary. This is just the 5 things that stuck out to me the most that I wanted to expand upon and talk in further detail here. And the other thing before we get into it is I know many people were very disappointed. And so in order to let you know that I hear you, I'd like to go over all the things that I've heard that people said were disappointing, and then talk about why I may disagree or maybe agree in some cases, but mostly disagree because I'm feeling really bullish right now. But I do want you to know I'm trying to make this and record this in a way so that you do know that I'm hearing you and that I understand where people are coming from. So one of the big issues with this major announcement and what happened today was the fact that this announcement does not help the Splinterlands game. And to your point, you are absolutely right. There's nothing in this for the Splinterlands game, but the team never said that there would be. They said there's a major announcement that is about bringing SPS utility, and that I do believe they delivered on, because they did confirm that you would be airdropped assets or tokens within this new game if you had SPS staked. So we talked about SPS utility before. I've hinted at this before, mainly because Yabba Matt has been hinting at it previously. So it finally delivered. We still don't have the full details, but this is the type of utility that he was talking about. I still don't like it as long-term utility, but it is utility in the sense where you think about, why did the DEC price go crazy last year? Well, it's because people were getting airdropped SPS. Well, if you could get airdropped this new game, where who knows where the assets might go, it could be interesting. The second thing that people didn't like, it's the MLS. It's like the laughingstock of soccer/football around the world. And to be fair, I don't watch the MLS. But I don't watch soccer/football in general. I watch American football. That's my favorite sport. But it is a major sports league. And if you go back and listen to the way that Agrid was talking about their development and their partnership, it does seem as though there could be in the works. Again, I'm just speculating, but in the way that he was talking about it, he didn't name anybody, and it was weird that he kind of danced around some of the topics, some of the names specifically, but he didn't name anyone and was talking about how when they do potential things in the future, there could be, these other leagues, and I'm just going to go out and say them, but again, this is speculation, something like English Premier League or La Liga or something like that, right? Where they could create separate games for those specific leagues. This is MLS based, and that's why they're focused on it. Now, again, it's a foot in the door. And to the third point that I'll bring up is that people are going to look at this and say, well, is this really bringing people into the ecosystem? And you think back to Waka, and I know everybody was burned on Waka, right? People look at Waka and they're just like, Waka didn't really do anything. It didn't help the market. It didn't bring in any new people. It wasn't the right fit. And I understand because to a certain extent, I agree, right? Waka was a proof of concept, and even though nothing really came from it, everybody said, that everybody on the team was talking about, well, this is the first of many. And today, once again, we hear this is the first of many, and it kind of stings, right? There's like a prickly thorn nature about it, because you're like, I've heard that before, but we got one Waka, and you know what the rest is history. We haven't gotten anything since. So I hear all of that, and like I said, I don't necessarily agree with it, but I understand where a lot of the cynicism comes from, because I tend to be much more bearish, or at least conservative, on this channel. So I get where you all are coming from. But, and I say this with all the love in the world, but I do think you're missing the bigger picture here. So as we're going to go into the 5 big things that stuck out to me, I just want to say that I've been somewhat bearish this entire time, and even now, I'm still a little conservative, because I don't know mainly how the macro markets are going to affect everything that happens in crypto over the next couple of months. If the SEC decides to go crazy, for example, or this crackdowns, I don't know what will happen outside of Splinterlands as well as inside Splinterlands. But I do think that there are a lot of really cool things coming up over the next couple of months between now and the end of the year. So I'm feeling generally bullish, but I do have the same reservations in some cases, right? How big is the MLS following? How big is whatever? But let's go ahead and dive in to the 5 things, and I'll go ahead and show you my list here so you can get an idea of what we're going to talk about. But number 1 is the Genesis League sports announcement. Now I'm gonna skip to this because I think this is important here, right? This is the you know what? I'm going to change one of my things on here. I'm going to change it live because I've already started. Well, we'll get to it in a second. There's going to be a bonus here because I was thinking about this while I was at the gym earlier. All right. So Genesis League sports announcement. Now, the main focus today is on the MLS, the soccer side of things, but the larger platform that they're trying to build out is a sports gaming, I guess, sports gaming platform or sports gaming studio, whatever it is, where it's not just going to be soccer. I mean, if you look down here, and for all the people around the world, I know soccer like hurts your ears, but that's just what I'm used to, because football means something completely different to me. So if you look at kind of the roadmap, and again, this isn't a roadmap, but this is what was shared by the team in the Discord, you can see that they want to get into all of these other sports, football, hockey, basketball, baseball. And so when it comes to that, right, there's so much opportunity there. And if this is just the first thing that they're launching, just think about how crazy and awesome things could get in the future if they can succeed at this and they can onboard new players and new companies, new leagues, whatever the case is, right? Now, here's the thing. And this is what probably makes me the most confident about this overall. When you look across the crypto space, right, and the NFT gaming, crypto gaming space, one thing that Splinterlands has over many of the other areas is the fact that they have a fantastic game, right? It's simple yet complex at the same time, right? It's simple to play because it's not, it's an auto battler, but the complexity of strategy is enough where I've been playing this thing for almost a year and I'm still not bored of it, right? It changes enough and I'm in it enough and I get enough satisfaction out of it, rewards or not, right? Of course, if there weren't any rewards, I don't think many of us would be here. But due to the fact that there are rewards, the game keeps us engaged enough. And I think there's a lot of things that are probably going to be added to the game over the next couple of months, land maybe next year, which could take that even to the next level. So again, could Yaba Matt be and Aggro, could they be a one and done where maybe they only get it done, maybe they only get it right once? Sure, but I don't think so. I mean I think Yaba is brilliant, and I think Aggro knows how to build out the structure for these things and really market them appropriately. And so when it comes to a sports game, I do have a lot of confidence that they can actually build a good crypto-based game that has solid gameplay and then add in the tokenomics and the fundamentals afterwards, right? Because they did that with Splinterlands, right? Splinterlands was out for 3 years before SPS was even in existence. So I do believe, and I have confidence in the team that they can do that and deliver that when it comes to designing a game, right? Game first. And we already know that the team has done a fantastic job with the economy. Now, they messed up, right? And they owned up to it. They messed up last year by putting DEC one-to-one peg with the airdrop, which just which brought in a ton of exploits, but they've gone through and they fixed a lot of that. And I think the economy is in a much better place now. If you've survived that, if you've been able to hopefully make some cash, at the end of last year, and then survive like the first 6 months of this year, you're probably sitting in a great spot where you have a lot of assets within the game accumulated, hopefully, right? And so I do believe in the team's ability to deliver on that. And if they can do that in a way where it's not just going to be, it's not just going to be soccer in the future, but some of these other platforms, there's a lot of potential there. And you look at the different game modes that they want to bring in, this could be something phenomenal. You think about how much money's in sports, and I'm a big sports fan. I like games, but I'm a big sports fan. And so I get excited about this because there's a lot of money, there's a lot of interest, there's a lot of crazy fandoms out there. And when it comes to collectibles, sports is a huge area. And now if those collectibles can earn you cash by playing a game that might be really fun and addictive, I don't know, guys. There's a lot of potential here. So seeing the big picture on this of what GLS, Genesis League Sports is, rather than just Genesis League Soccer, if that makes sense. Now, for number 2, focusing specifically on the MLSPA partnership. What's interesting about this, and it's not just MLSPA, but I forgot what the other company was, one something. One something company also has, and let me see if I have the announcement. Oh, here. It's the One Team Partners. So One Team also represents athletes of the NFL, MLB, U.S. Women's National Team, WNBA. So the NBA isn't on here, but you can see that there's many other areas which the team can dip into, right? You're talking about baseball and football, where this could add so much more. Now, the MLSPA, what's interesting about this specifically and about them specifically is, sure, it's not FIFA, right? But it is a major sports league here in the U.S. And I know the U.S. is like the laughing stock of the world when it comes to soccer/football. But one insight that I do want to put in, I don't know if I can't provide any stats to back this up, but I do think that soccer/football is on the rise here in the U.S. in a very big way. And the reason for that is because as much as I love the NFL, the American football, I know many parents that I've talked to or have heard, it's just like they don't want to put their kids in football anymore because of all the injuries and all the stuff that's come out. So what's the other fall sport here in the U.S.? It's soccer. And so if, again, I'm thinking 5 years, 10 years out, how does this grow? Can this game grow with the MLS, right? If MLS can become a bigger thing here, if people become more interested in it, I don't know. Maybe I'm just reaching there. I could be, but I don't mind the fact that this was started with soccer if that's where the team wants to go, right? If that is where the opportunity was, and I don't even mind if the MLS is where it wants to go. Now, I kind of cheated because I brought this up already previously, but my main point for this was the fact that the MLS could just be a starting point. Now, somebody asked in the town hall, they said, why would you call it soccer when the rest of the world calls it football, right? And Agrod responded saying that, well, this is a game designed around the MLS. It's designed around Major League Soccer, which is the U.S. league, right? The official U.S. league. So that's why the game is named that. But he kept on alluding to it. And this is why I brought up the English Premier League earlier, because he kept on saying, like, if we were to expand, when we expand, go back and listen to it, right? I'm not saying that he confirmed it, but it really sounded like a lot of this stuff was potentially in the works, or at least the discussions were being had, where if this goes well, then all you non-US people who hate soccer, you might get your favorite team, whether it's EPL or La Liga or whatever else is out there. Again, I don't follow it very closely. I love the World Cup, and I watch the World Cup religiously, but I don't follow anything else football related. So this could just be the start. And again, I know this is why I brought up the Waka thing in the beginning, where it's just like, this is a proof of concept and all that. But it could be. It really could be. And I think this is a major deal, right? It's not just a one-off. There's a lot of real potential here with other leagues if Splinterlands and the MLSPA can get it right. Okay, let me move to number 3. EMP Money Partnership. All right, well, this was interesting. Now, when they announced this, I thought, I was like, okay, well, this is like being posted in official announcements. Is this something worth me looking into and doing a video on? And I went through, I checked out AJ's project, and I checked out the, I listened to a couple of the AMAs. I went through on the website. I was reading through some of the, I don't know if they have an official white paper, but I remember reading through some of how the tokenomics work. And my main thought, and AJ, if you watch this, or anybody who watches this, if you're familiar with the project or part of the project, I don't mean this. I don't. Please don't take this personally. I'm not trying to attack you. This is just the Bitcoin maxi in me kind of rearing its head. And when I see projects like this, I'm just like, we don't need more tokens. We just don't need more tokens, right? Not everything needs to be tokenized. And especially with, when there's all these like crazy APRs involved and stable coins and algorithmic stable coins or algorithmic pegs and things like that. Again, I'm not trying to bash the project. It's just that was my first reaction to it. Now, I have looked into it a little bit more, and then I listened to what AJ was saying in the town hall as well. But more specifically, what kind of changed my mind about this project, and let me see if I can go down and find the EMP part. But what kind of changed my mind around the EMP partnership is the fact that Yaba Matt is bullish on it and has looked into the tokenomics. And I do trust Yaba Matt's kind of analysis of these types of things. Now, that being said, I don't think that anybody should ape into this. I don't know that this partnership actually does anything for Splinterlands, except for the fact that now you can spend the token EMP within the game, and it'll be a token that's interoperable probably within the game and all that. But it was interesting to see. It was interesting to see somebody who's like a Splinterlands OG getting some love from the Splinterlands team and creating this type of partnership. It sounds like AJ's been in the space for a while, and so here's what happened. I listened to the town hall. I went through. I read more of the website, the tokenomics. I'm not saying that this is the best thing to do. I'm actually not even saying that you should do it. But to support, I did go buy some EMP and some ETH, BEP2 ETH, so Ethereum based on the Binance chain, and I threw it in just to test it out. But my takeaway from this wasn't that I think you should go in and ape in all your money because they're promising you some crazy APRs. In fact, I get really, really worried when I see stuff like that. And even to the point now where I'm just like, I know this is a partnership for Splinterlands, but I'm struggling to see the value that it brings outside of like just being, the Splinterlands kind of community. What is it like in sports when you say like the coaching tree, right? So it's just like when you see all of these projects pop up in the Splinterlands space or in the Hive ecosystem or from the Splinterlands space, it's interesting to see that. And I like the synergy and I like the kind of energy between, everyone there, right? Like I think it's amazing, but I don't know. I don't know where this necessarily goes, but I am giving it a try. And I think it's great that if you are a Splinterlands player, right, or you've been around for a while and you want to start some kind of project and you can provide value in that project, there might be opportunities for you to partner with the company. So I think that's really cool. And that's really the main takeaway that I have from this. Now, that being said, I'm not trying to say anything negative about this. Like I said, this is just the Bitcoin maxi and me kind of like trying to its way out. But it's just the fact that like I want, before I like jump into anything, I really want to know like what's the use case, what's the utility, because we have 1 million tokens now and half of them don't do anything. Now, I do think that there's some interesting aspects to it, and that's kind of outside the scope of this video. I really just wanted to focus on the partnership aspect of it. But I do think what AJ is doing is fantastic, and I do want to support him because it seems like he's done a lot of really, really cool stuff, not just within crypto, but now he's putting his passion into crypto because of Splinterlands. So it's cool to see that kind of inspiration lead into another project. But that's all I really have to say about it. I did put a little bit into EMP, but it's not, again, I'm not telling you to, I'm not advising you to, I'm not even saying that it's a good idea. I'm just saying that I did some to show a little support to AJ and the team. And I do plan, let me say this, I do plan on checking out more of the AMAs and trying to learn a little bit more about what the goal is overall. Just because if this was important enough to bring onto a Splinterlands town hall, I am curious to know if there are other areas in which this partnership could grow. All right, number 5. Rift Watchers presale could be in by the end of August, or could begin by the end of August. Now, people were asking, can we get an idea of when the presale will go live so we can start unstaking our SPS? And right now, even though September seems like the date, if they're trying to do a presale, it sounds as though, at least as of today, that they're still trying to get it for the end of August, which is less than 4 weeks away. So if you haven't started unstaking your tokens, might be worth considering just in case you want to be ready to go. Now, is that the best move, especially if you want to make sure you are getting the most out of whenever the GLS token airdrop goes live? I don't know. And it was funny getting kind of conflicting things from Hardpoint and Yabamat. So there was a point in which somebody asked, like, should we, in relation to this, should we be on staking? And Hardpoint was saying, well, there's a lot of interesting things coming up that will require SPS. So maybe unstaking could be something you need to consider. And then Matt literally spoke right after him and said, well, there's a lot of things that will require staking too. So maybe have a little bit of both, whatever you feel comfortable with. I'm the type of person that wants everything working for me all the time. So I try to keep a majority of what I have staked, but keeping some liquid, maybe not the worst thing in the world. So if you want to start on staking now, you do have 3 weeks until that, the end of August. I think it's August 8th right now. So it's roughly 22, 23 days, until we get that. So at least you could have some unstaked if you'd like to have some unstaked. So just want to put that timeline out there for you because it could come in sooner than you expect and you won't have enough time to get all of your stuff out. All right, number 5. Hive is the big winner here, I think, because this game is going to be built on Hive, and it sounds like anything else that comes out is going to be built on Hive. The team is a big fan of Hive. They're not a fan of Ethereum or any of the other chains that require fees and all that. So in the end, what's interesting for me is to look at not just Splinterlands, but a lot of the other projects that are happening on Hive. Because here's what happens. You get, and I don't know where they got these numbers from, but I'll trust it. You got Aggroed saying that there's 100 million potential fans with crypto, right? Or with the MLS. That seems high. Maybe 100 million fans around the world for football/soccer. And let's say you don't even get 1%. Let's say you get 1/10 of a percent, 0.001. I mean, that's 100,000 people that could come into crypto, right? And that's a small amount. That's a small amount that could come into crypto that would all be joining the Hive ecosystem. And when they come in, you're going to have, it's going to be a spectrum. You're going to have most of your people that are going to come in and just be like, I'm a soccer fan, or a football fan, and I want to come in and I want to figure out how to play this game with these NFTs. And then you're going to get the people who are a little more curious that come about and say, I've heard of Ethereum, I've heard of Solana, I've heard of Bitcoin, I haven't heard of Hive. What's this all about? Let me dig a little bit deeper. Let me go further down the rabbit hole of this crypto thing that they're talking about and learn more about Hive. Oh, there's other games in here. I know about Splinterlands because that's the partnership, but there's other games like Rising Star and Decrops and Woo and all, you know what I mean? So the Hive ecosystem as a whole could grow if you get even just 1/10 of a percent of that audience to come in. And that's just for football, right? Imagine if they get all the other sports in there. That could be, this could be something that is really, really big for the Hive ecosystem. So I don't know. Again, I know that's not Splinterlands related, but I do talk about other games on the channel as well. And while I'm not saying that you should go and buy and start playing those games, I'm saying that I'm interested at least in what's happening on the rest of the Hive ecosystem. And I do tend to dabble in a couple of different things. And I think it would be great for those games and those projects to get an infusion of interest and people. So, it is what it is. I think that it could benefit Hive, but in the long run, I do think that it would be great for Splinterlands as well. All right, and the last thing is a bonus, and I'm thinking about if I should just wait and put this into a separate video, but I will tease it here. And this is this portion right here where they talked about the Atom token. Now, my headline for this, if I was to type it out and put it as one of the bullet points here, is think of it as SaaS, Splinterlands as a service. And what I mean by that is the fact that most of this stuff is B2C, right? You got your business to consumer. All the stuff that they're doing is all the things that they provide are for consumers, players like us, right? But what they've been talking about is creating a platform in which they want to build out all of these other games and have all of these services, right? Like the resource credits, the Hive account creation, right? Matt talked about that to some length, actually. And so if they have these services, what they would be doing or what they would be offering is potentially B2B services. So business to business services, where if other companies, other organizations, other leagues, other individuals wanted to come in and build games, they could come in, start building their game, but then not have to start from scratch on the Hive blockchain and pay Splinterlands, right? The companies, pay Splinterlands, the company, to avail of these different services, whether it's the resource credit service, whether that is the Hive account creation service, all the things that this infrastructure that Splinterlands, the company, has built. Now they can package that out and offer it as a service to other companies, other games, other institutions, whoever wants to come in and create on the blockchain. And what Matt specifically said was, in order for them to avail of those services, it sounds as though they're going to require these companies to either have SPS staked or for them to pay in SPS. So we talk about, all these little fish coming in and buying SPS because they need it in order to earn rewards in the game and all that. Well, think about a Web2 company that sees the partnership that Splinterlands has with the MLS, sees a potential partnership in the future that Splinterlands has with Warner Music, comes in and says, all right, we want to build something big, right? We want to bring in a ton of money. And Splinterlands says, okay, that's fine. Like, you want to do all these different things. You want to scale this out. You want to market it. You're going to build your own game over there. But if you are planning to bring in, 100,000 people into the Hive ecosystem or 1 million people into the Hive ecosystem for your game, right? This has nothing to do with Splinterlands. This is where it gets great. It has nothing to do with Splinterlands. This company's going to come and they're going to build their own game on the Hive blockchain, but they don't want to start from scratch. And so they are going to tell Splinterlands, we want to use your services for X, Y, and Z, Hive account creation, for resource credits management, all this other stuff. And Splinterlands says, okay, well, you're going to be bringing in 1 million people. It's going to cost you X amount of US dollars, and you're going to have to pay that in SPS. And that company's going to go, and they're going to go to one of the exchanges, or they're going to go to PancakeSwap, whatever, and they're going to buy a crap ton of SPS in order to do that. All right? That's what gets me excited. And I think that's one of the most overlooked things. I know this ended up being a bonus, but I was getting super hyped while I was at the gym, just kind of thinking through the implications of this, because I was listening to it on my, I was doing my second listen while I was working out. And so, I don't know, man. It could be something crazy. I'm going to listen to it one more time and maybe share it in a video format here so people can hear it. But I do think that could be something crazy for the SPS price that has nothing to do with the Splinterlands game, but could still bring value to the SPS token. And here's where the cascading effects really start to affect everybody else. A company comes in, whale of a company comes in and buys a crap ton of SPS because they need it in order to do X, Y, and Z. And all of a sudden, SPS jumps, does a 1x, or does a 2x, 3x. Who knows? I don't know. I'm just saying that if a lot of money came into it for that reason, well, now all of a sudden, Splinterlands goes from paying out $600,000 in SPS because we get SPS rewards. So we go from 600,000 SPS to 1.2 million, 1.8 million, maybe 2 million, right? Based on the price of the SPS token. So per month, I'm talking about. So I don't know. There's a lot of really positive feedback loops that could play out here, which I think could make things really interesting over the next couple of months, and maybe even in the long term, right, going into 2023. But I've speculated a lot right now, and I know that I've gone deep into the rabbit hole on many things, or deep into the weeds on many things. So I want to cut this video off here because it's already gotten quite long. So that is all I have for you guys in this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If there's anything you want me to dig into more specifically, I would appreciate that, because I tend to ramble on here and I don't necessarily cover everything. So if there's something you want me to dig into more specifically, I can cover that in a separate video. If there's something that I mentioned here, like one of these different things, let me know, and I will try to do that when I get a chance. But otherwise, I will catch you all in the next video, and I will see you around the game. Take care.